In those old times there lived two brothers who were not like other men, nor yet were they like the mighty ones who lived upon the mountain top. They were the sons of one of those titans who had fought against Jupiter and been sent in chains to the strong prison house of the lower world. The name of the elder of these brothers was Prometheus, or Forethought, for he was always thinking of the future and making things ready for what might happen tomorrow, or next week, or next year, or it may be in 100 years to come. The younger one was called Epimetheus, or Afterthought, for he was always so busy thinking of yesterday or last year or 100 years ago that he had no care at all for what might come to pass. For some cause, Jupiter had not sent these brothers to prison with the rest of the Titans. Prometheus did not care to live amid the clouds on the mountain top. He went out amongst men to live with them and help them, for his heart was filled with sadness when he found that they were no longer happy as they had been during the golden days. Ah, how very poor and wretched they were. He found them living in caves and in holes of the earth, shivering with the cold because there was no fire, dying of starvation, hunted by wild beasts and by one another, the most miserable of all living creatures.
If only they had fire, they could at least warm themselves and cook their food, and after a while they could learn to make tools and build themselves houses. Without fire, they are worse off than the beasts.
So, he went boldly to Jupiter and begged him to give fire to men, that so they might have a little comfort through the long, dreary months of winter. "Not a spark will I give," said Jupiter. "No, indeed. Why, if men had fire, they might become strong and wise like ourselves. And after a while, they would drive us out of the kingdom. It is best for them to be poor and ignorant, so that we mighty ones may thrive and be happy." Prometheus gave no answer, but he had set his heart on helping mankind, and he did not give up. He turned away and left Jupiter and his mighty company forever. As he was walking by the shore of the sea, he found a reed, or as some say, a tall stalk of fennel growing. When he had broken it off, he saw that its hollow center was filled with a dry, soft pith, which would burn slowly and keep on fire for a long time. He took the long stalk in his hands and started with it towards the dwelling of the sun in the far east.
Mankind shall have fire, heedless of the tyrant who sits on the mountain top.
He reached the place of the sun in the early morning, just as the glowing golden orb was rising from the earth, and beginning his daily journey through the sky. He touched the end of the long reed to the flames, and the dry pith caught on fire and burned slowly. Then he turned and hastened back to his own land, carrying with him the precious spark hidden in the hollow of the center plum. He called some of the shivering men from their caves and built a fire for them, and showed them how to warm themselves by it, and how to build other fires from the coals. Soon there was a cheerful blaze in every rude home in the land, and men and women around it were warm and happy, and thankful to Prometheus for the wonderful gift which he had brought them from the sun. After that, Prometheus taught them, little by little, 1,000 things. He showed them how to build houses of wood and stone, and how to tame sheep and cattle and make them useful, and how to plow and snow and reap, and how to protect themselves from the storms of winter and the beasts of the woods. But Prometheus couldn't live the golden age he had propagated, for when Jupiter found out, he was furious. He bade two of his servants, whose names were Strength and Force, to seize the bold Titan and carry him to the topmost peak of the Caucasus Mountains. Then he sent the blacksmith, Vulcan, to bind him with iron chains and fetter him to the rocks, so that he would not more move in hand or foot. Vulcan did not like this, for he was a friend of Prometheus, and yet he did not disobey. And so the great friend of men, who had given them fire and lifted them out of their wretchedness, and showed them how to live life, was chained on the mountain peak. And there he hung, with the storm winds whistling always around him and the pitiless hail beating in his face. Year after year and age after age, Prometheus hung there. And year after year, vicious eagles would tear and devour his liver, only for it to grow back so it could be eaten again. Do you see now how the gods themselves can be the evil?